Yep, we're going. There we are.
It's past 11. I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Bob Olson,
Here.
John Nicholson, Mike Copine,
Here.
Jim Sheeline.
Here.
Chris Norberg. Here. Doug Barster. Marilyn Shipper.
Here.
Tom Wilson.
All right, we'll go to a meeting. Any visitors here? Start off with Larry. Larry, you got anything you want to share? Rick? All right. Guess no visitors. Has anybody had the chance to look over the minutes from the previous meeting? Is there any corrections? If none, we'll let them stand as read. Let's go to the review of the claims report provided by the Claims Committee.
Fine. So getting a couple snafu's out. Some department heads aren't sure on scanning things, getting us a PDF file, but I think this next meeting next week, we've got everything
Worked out.
resolved, I believe, I hope.
So
How is that going as far as when it comes to the paid vacation? We still has this achieved the goal of
Oh, absolutely.
reducing the paid vacation?
We met last Wednesday, a week ago yesterday,
Mhm.
and we will meet next Wednesday, so we'll meet twice a month. And that's hopefully catching everything.
I paid one claim in vacation and it was for the sheriff. He was too late or something. I don't know what was done, but I approved that. And I think it was a timing issue. They're going to go back to claims. And I don't know if we need to go out and talk to the gals out there about a timing or their credit card billing due date.
so for the record, this report usually comes from Nancy. It's in your resource folder under executive. And I'm going to send it around for signatures, but it wasn't added to the report because they didn't have it. So that would be the report, Marilyn, that was from the 7th, January 7th to February 10th.
That was paid vacation stuff.
No,
There's always gonna be a lag.
Yeah.
You know, that's through February.
February 10th.
Sheriff wasn't here for finance or for public safety yesterday. Mr. Glessner was reminded that one of the reasons we're doing what we're doing here is to eliminate some of that paid vacation stuff.
So I'm going to send this around if all the board members can sign it, but it didn't make the agenda. I didn't have it for the agenda. That's why it's in your resource folder.
Becky, I can't find it in the resource folder.
You gotta go to executive committee. It's executive committee. I had to dig through it too. You gotta go to resources, executive committee, tap on executive committee, and it's right there.
Harburg, if you can't find it,
There it
you don't
is.
need to be on the board. All right?
Wait.
I heard that one day and I'm just repeating that. All right.
He's brutal.
Just putting that out there.
Jeez.
I need a filter. Is that what you're telling me? Any comments about Marilyn's report?
You know, the comment that I'll have, and I haven't, excuse me, had a chance to look it through this, but this is exactly what we did on the school. This is how,
This
this
is
is how
gonna
it's
be
laid
so
out.
transparent that
Very
everybody is gonna
transparent.
see all. the
This
money.
is 100 pounds better than what we've done. in the
Yeah.
past. I can look through here and go to, you know, if I can dig as much as I want.
You know, the claims committee is only gonna see the ones over $1,000. Rest of them, the department will approve it, but you're gonna see them all. There'll be a little time lag on when they get to the board, but they will all get there.
Any more questions, comments? Thanks, Marilyn. I don't see committee chair reports on here. Unless I'm missing something.
They're there.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to go around with committees?
You want me to
I
go?
thought we weren't going to do that.
Well, it's redundant to do the ones that we're all here today for. Maybe we do the ones that we weren't here.
Okay, I mean,
Well, what I can do, since we were all here, is there any questions in regards to the, what happened in finance today? I guess the biggest thing was that because we tabled a bunch of stuff in regards to both elected official and also county board and committee member compensation, but we did approve the framework for non-union employee raises. So if there's any questions in that regard, I'll entertain that. But otherwise, you guys were all here.
Right. Mr. Covine, you want to talk about safety, public safety? Anything you want to touch on?
Well, Jim, I thought maybe Jim was gonna elaborate a little bit more, but on this 18 laptop situation, I'm getting filled in with some more stuff along the way through the finance meeting and right now. These 18 laptops are not connected to the server. They're not being used on the server. My understanding right now is they're probably emergency use
Yes.
for the 18. So I sent a text to Kevin and said that we had to meet and fine tune this and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I think just lay it out how many there are, the costs and where we're gonna get the money of, and maybe we need to make a form for that. Finance or something.
Well,
You know,
Jim hit the nail on the head. Before I even put it on public safety, I should have had paperwork.
Yeah.
Trail, so that we've got it visible to us right there, and the explanations are all there, so.
And I guess maybe it's appropriate to hit two birds with one stone in this regard. But I did have a conversation with Paula, and she does have a form that she used to work with, her previous life. Because part of the problem is sometimes department heads don't know how to fill that stuff out or what they need to include and all that kind of stuff. But she's got a form that will lay things out, what the purpose is, where the money's coming from, what, amount, and it's all signed off. And that would automatically come to the finance, comes to first to the standing committees, but would eventually come to the finance committee so that we can deal with it. And we know what we're dealing with instead of this ad hoc stuff. The other thing in that regard is one thing that this committee probably should institute as a policy is that things that come on our agenda has to come through the committee chair, because that's not happening. Because I know in my committee, there was some stuff that popped up and I was like, where the heck did this come from? I didn't know anything about it. And so it just needs to be a standing policy from this committee that all agenda items come through the chair.
I did ask Becky and probably putting another responsibility on her, but she's been fantastic at it. And if somebody calls her and says, when you put this on the agenda, I don't like to get backdoored with something on the agenda, not knowing what's coming without being able to provide something for it.
And part of Jim's was mine. I put him on there and I should have let him know. That's part of my issue, but we do need to do better. I would agree.
Well, boss, all I can say is when you're at the top,
Well, no, I don't
There's
like mine.
something about, certain type of material coming downhill,
Yeah. I don't like to be blindsided either, so I get it.
but she's real good. And I've been checking the dates and the hours, and I think there's some extra time involved on that part too.
The other thing that I'd like to say is that if the agenda items come to the chair, then the chair can also, so if something comes to you, Mike, you can also contact Jim and say, hey, does this need to go on finance? What do we need to do with it? And then there's just a little more communication.
But going back to his statement about Paula, maybe we'll give the committee chairs that statement to fill out, or whoever's requesting something from a department head, have to fill it out. And we need to know where the money's coming from, because that's huge. That budget's not a suggestion,
That's right.
when you sit in his chair, you want to know where the money's coming from before you tell me about the project sometimes.
I agree with that. We've got the technology on the electrical end of things in the progress of being upgraded. There's no reason why we can't do the paperwork process too.
Yeah. Well, when you sit in his chair, it's like, show me the money, then tell me the project, and then we'll go from there. So we'll move on. Chris, do you got anything from here that you want to share? Tom, anything from properties? What about the old LEC building?
Got a question.
Go ahead, John.
I just got a question. How far are you coming along on it? Who's the engineer on it and how much we spent so far?
Well, Brad Hunsberger is the architect.
Who's that?
Brad Hunsberger.
Huh?
And we're about $10,000 or thereabouts on architecture fees, and we're not going to have any additional fees until it goes to construction. I went over this at properties. I thought you were there. I didn't know that you had questions, but
No, you didn't go
I didn't. Oh, okay. It's going really well, actually.
properties, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I just was curious. I knew Brad was involved in it. I know him from Habitat, so.
Going really well, and we're getting scope letters written for the mechanical stuff. But yeah, it's going along really well.
You spent just 10 grand.
Yeah, I haven't spent anything yet.
Oh, okay. Let's just say I'll spend 10.
No. That's what our,
You got 29.9 off. So
right.
that's okay. That's all I need to know.
And, I'm gonna ask you another question, Tom. The new courts building, the 2 boilers. Refresh these guys, just more information for us, the better everybody, department head knows.
So the 2 boilers in the existing new courts building, we just got a scope letter back from an engineer yesterday. We're gonna put it out for bid here. When Wendy gets back, we'll get with Greg and Wendy and we'll get this put out just like we did the HVAC system for the old courts building. But the boilers are gonna be replaced as soon as possible. They've been limping them through all winter long. In the extreme cold temperatures, we had a tough time getting stuff up to temperature. The boilers have lived their life expectancy as has most of the equipment over there. So we've got the scope letter from the engineer, and when we put it out for bid, we'll come back and have a number of what we're going to spend on the boiler project.
The building's got to be what, 20, 25 years old?
Yes, somewhere in there.
It was finished in 2000.
Yeah.
I was.
So all the
property chairman,
RTUs
finished off.
all the RTUs and all that stuff, the life expectancy is 15 years and we're at 20 years. And it's, I mean, all the there's 70 VAVs in that building. They're all inundated. We've been limping them along as well, but that's all going to come down through eventually redoing the HVAC system and all the VAVs inside the building.
VAV is the unit in the building.
Very well valved. It controls how much heat goes into what area, and it's all done electronically. We've already paid for the system and it's up and running for the electronics, so we can control that better. And
Any
Greg
chance-
can get that.
Any chance ARPA would pay for some of that, or maybe?
I would certainly hope ARPA would. The boiler project over there, when I first got on the board, there was no talk of ARPA money, and they budgeted some money for a boiler, and then it got pulled out of budget. Paula has nothing in the budget right now for the boiler replacement. So apparently it came back out of what we were talking about because we thought it would be paid through ARPA. So it has not been discussed with the ARPA people about paying for it.
All right, we'll make sure we get that on the agenda, and so we can get the boiler ordered when we.
Yeah, there's 2 boilers that are going to be replaced. And then we're changing the entire piping system around. It isn't up to what standards are going to be as of the technologies that are today. So it's going to be upgraded to the standard. So as we go forward, we're not spending money twice.
Is the sizing bigger than what we have now, or you requested?
I couldn't tell you. I think it's the same. I think they're going to be much more efficient. The old boilers have not been maintained properly. They haven't been flushed like they're supposed to have been. Chemicals haven't been added, and Greg says he doesn't recall ever seeing it done. And it gums up the systems inside. And this system here will be a completely different animal than what was currently in there.
I just know we're at the extreme all the time over there,
We are.
It's cold,
It's going to be a matter of time, and then we're going to, yeah, that's exactly right.
With the change in the way the money can be spent, if that does go through.
Yeah.
It'll be a whole lot easier because forward. it'll be a lot-
Well, I think our committee needs to reassess how they're gonna spend the money, but we need to vote on that also and agree to it, what percent or dollar amount we're gonna use. We still have some social programs, some and some different opinions, so at some point we need to come together on that. So,
Yeah, and even the new system that we put in here, we had the ultraviolet rays, so ultraviolet light, so it can take care of all the filter changes. But that's really a technology we should be thinking about anyway, even if it wasn't COVID. That is just one less thing we have to maintain. and
absolutely, it's better for the employees. I mean, the people
Absolutely,
here,
100%.
it's like, we need to look at
Better.
stuff. Rick, you had a question?
Yeah, I mean, Tom, what was the estimate on that? Do you remember?
On what?
On the boilers?
We never got an estimate. We had parts and stuff that we've been keeping it together, but I don't remember what the estimate was. Greg had turned something in before, right as I got on the board for boiler replacement. I don't remember what it was.
I guess that's the reason I'm asking. I remember at budget time, we were talking about
Sometime,
replacing everything. It was gonna be like 3 million, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But in our capital, we set aside, unless it was changed, but my last 9/9/21, there's $76,000 in there for new courthouse boilers. So,
well, I'll just tell you right now that the 2 boilers that we're getting are $140,000.
well, I'm just saying is we did put some money,
Okay.
my understanding is in the capital budget for the boiler replacement at the new courthouse. Unless
But,
that,
and again, I don't know if that money was moved somewhere else, or Becky.
But-
But what Paula told us.
I understood Paula to say that it was submitted for budget, but it was taken out because they thought it could be qualify under ARPA. So
So there, I think there was money in there, Rick, but I think they took it out because they thought. ARPA
Again,
could pay
when
for it.
we finalized the budget, there was a dollar amount. But in that discussion, all these items were how we got to the dollar amount. So unless that's changed, which I can't.
I'll email her and ask for that list.
Greg submitted a gross amount of 3.3 million. And that was kind of just taken out almost immediately. And because some of the things could qualify for the ARPA money. But things have changed too. It's, you know, it's work in progress here, with changes. But it had to go back to the filters and all that. So,
The ARPA, you know, it's a moving target. Hopefully that target
Yeah.
now stop. So
yeah, I wish it would stop.
it sounds like they got the final rules, so. All right. Thank you. We go to old business.
Doug's not here, but I
Okay,
updated you a little bit on what happened in highway.
I'm sorry.
I don't think anybody else is here with the highway.
No.
Shady Oaks and Big Sky Repower projects are both winded down. He expects there'll be some money coming into the treasury, but he doesn't think those projects will be done until the summer of 23. The highway maintenance. The blurb that we hear about the governor rolling back the increase in gas tax.
Yep.
He said that's gonna amount to about $16 per year for the average taxpayer. It's just a political thing. And the other thing was on solid waste. He sent a letter to Republic for the inflationary cost. The host fee will be $2.10 for the first 10,000 tons per day. Excuse me, 1,000 tons per day. 210 for the first 1,000 and 263 for tons over 1,000.
You know, one time I thought that was a lot of money, but I took some out there. It was $80 a ton to drop it there. So, you know, I don't feel sorry for them anymore.
So he sent the letter and it's all for the agreement.
Yes, Rick.
Well, perhaps if we feel insecure in that, there is a verbiage in our contract with Republic that we can do an average of the surrounding 8 landfills. Maybe that's a good project for Dave to see what the average, and then they're supposed to be charging us no more than that. So
I think that's not a bad, just to go through and see. I don't know, we start that with Dave, maybe your committee.
One other thing too, we went into executive session and discussed it, and it came out, because he's short-staffed down there. He doesn't have personnel to necessarily go out and monitor when the contractor finishes up one township and starts the next. Brenda has agreed to do that. And we approved that we pay $5 an hour additional to her salary for the time that she's doing that. He said it'd be no more than $200 a year, so $1,000. Would save us hiring another employee to go out and do it.
Absolutely.
And he approved that.
Any questions? Comment? Rick? Oh,
I guess, as finance chairman, so why, that should have come,
He's
Through
got the
our-
money in his budget and it's, he's short an employee, that's the,
if he's not above his budget and not hiring anybody else. Should let somebody know.
well, I will appreciate that as an information. You know, I can be, or I didn't see that. I guess,
it came up in executive session.
yeah, and it wasn't in the minutes. Because it was in, I don't think. Yeah. Dave.
And motion by me to allow the office manager to receive an additional $5 an hour when asked to be on the job or see employee operations.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just,
All right, let's keep,
He's short an employee. And
Yeah,
let's see if I got- He's a
I have
solution.
no object, I'm just thinking, you know, I took to task several things that came before the finance committee and that, you know, didn't have any documentation or whatnot. I missed this. I zipped through it and I didn't pay attention to it. So I was more interested in project.
So let's move on.
Yep.
All right, we'll go to old business and we got employee spotlight. I don't know who's got this on here.
I think that Lisa was not able to attend last board
Yep.
meeting, so it's.
Correct.
All right. That'll work.
Over.
And has anybody talked to her? She ready this month or?
Kathy had originally talked to her.
Okay,
Couldn't make it last month, so they'll be here this month. I'll remind her.
all right. We'll go on to number 7, stipends and bonus criteria, Sheriff's Office. He asked me to table it. He's not here today. Anybody got a motion to table it? Mr. Copey, Mr. Nicholson seconds it. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. We'll go down to new business, non-union employee raises.
Oh, do you want? Okay.
It was in finance and discussed today, and you recommended out of finance, what was it?
Okay, so the recommendation coming out of finance was for non-union employees, $2, and 75 raise.
Let's get a
And no-
motion.
No change, no change to, no change to insurance. And also there was a number of employees that had received raises previous. And so the motion included those employees that if their raise that they had already received did not raise to the threshold of the $2, that they would be, they would be moved up. So that they would,
And it would go back to December 1.
yes, and it was retro.
Okay, so let's get a motion on the table, then we'll discuss it.
I
Mr.
think that
Cope,
motion-
you make the motion, Mr. Copine seconds it.
Was it Sheila?
Sheline made the motion, Copine seconded. So let's go to discussion. Any discussion?
I think we gotta do it. We got, our salaries are so low.
Yeah,
And I asked the question. So what is your whole finance meeting, but policy that takes care of the $15 an hour stop limit, which is a problem.
yeah. That's a huge problem, but still, we probably got room to proceed, but let's see how our revenue stream and our expenses go, but we gotta pay these people more.
Like you said this morning, we've got good revenue right
Yeah,
now.
But, you gotta, to keep quality employees, you gotta pay them. And I think we've got quality employees, but, they can
Yeah.
go some burgers and get more than they
Yeah.
here.
yeah. And then how do we attract new people that come in to replace retiring or employees that
Tell them you're gonna pay them whatever the fuck.
Mr. Norberg, you got anything to say about the raises? Tom? I'm just calling on you since I can't see you, so that's why no, you're fine. I'm not picking on you.
They're hiding.
Yes. So we got a motion on the floor in a second, and we had discussion. All those in favor on the motion to give the non-union employees raises going back to retro to December 1, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have no raffle report.
Okay, so hold on just one second.
Okay,
So Nancy's not here, so we want the employee spotlight on the agenda, correct? So we're tabling the sheriff, so we don't have to do anything with that.
Yep.
And the full board does or does not need to vote on the non-union? Does.
does.
So we want the union on there too. Okay. Just checking.
And there's no raffle report.
Correct.
You don't need that on there, or I guess it don't go anyhow, but so we got executive session. Let me see what else we got down there.
Well, the rest of it goes into what's on the full.
Okay.
calendar.
So you want to go in executive session now then? To discuss collective negotiating matters?
Everybody was in there, what they?
We're all here today. I mean,
Except for, were you
I
here?
was-
Yeah, you were.
late, so I was
Yep.
there.
so I don't see any reason to do that unless somebody requests it.
Bob,
Yes.
is that gonna be on the full board though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the non-union raise.
Get on the full board agenda.
Well, the,
She's making it
yeah,
now.
we're doing that as we speak.
So that's a suggestion, I guess, and then we make our agenda out of that. Okay, we'll go down to February 2022 County Board Agenda items, which we start out with call to order. Everything's on there, employee spotlight, approval of minutes. Coming to the zoning appeals, see attached position.
Okay, I do have one thing to add here, Bob. Because last month we had the text amendment for zoning on the mini warehouses, and we need to add that. Dean said it was held over, so that we'll need to add.
All right.
So everybody knows we need to add that.
Let me think that's okay. So let's go to G, go to F. We definitely need that on there.
You know, it's just a point of clarification that to me, it seemed awkward. We're saying petitions coming to the zoning board. It'd be more petitions going to the zoning board.
But we did that last month. Though.
I suggested before.
I didn't realize it didn't care.
Yeah, just to me, I understand it better. Yeah,
It's more clarifies what's happening.
yeah.
It is coming to them, but it's
Going
going
to
to
them,
them.
yeah.
It's just a,
Yeah, we're not part of that. Can we change that verbiage or is that?
I thought we did last month, and I copied the meeting, and I thought it copied. me.
I suggested the last.
And she
one.
did.
It didn't get, you know, it's
So-
here again, so
so-
I'm gonna keep suggesting.
And you just go right ahead. Eventually I will get that up.
All right, let's change that. While we're talking about this over at, not this petition, but we asked Jason Anderson if it'd be advantageous to change the zoning over there up by where the project is, south of Rochelle. I think they're talking about, Dee's gonna already change it. We as a county can change that to, what would she change it to, Chris? Industrial, well, it's industrial 1 or 2, but I think it's 1 or whatever. So if the landowners don't complain about it, and everybody's on board, we might see that next month, and they want to make you all aware of that, that might be a possibility. Whether anybody have a problem with it, it's gonna make it,
Some of it's probably still in ag.
yeah, it's all in ag.
The taxes would be substantially more. They
Um,
might complain with that, but we might have to give them a variance of some sort on the tax.
Chris,
You're talking in regards to solar?
No,
no,
we're talking in regards to the land south of Rochelle that lies in the county.
That's industrial in I-2 right now. That's
It's
gonna,
I-2 right now.
No,
I
no.
thought it was ag.
oh, it's ag, correct, and they want to rezone it to I, correct?
yes,
And I'm just saying though, that the tax on I-2 is substantially more than agriculture. Isn't it?
they might have, I don't think it is, because we talked about the tax issue, and if it is, we might abate that
Yeah,
part of it.
I mean,
So,
we can do it. It's just a matter of, gotta get it down.
but we were number 2, we were within 2, company coming in there, and they picked the other company. And I don't know if it was a zoning issue, but we ran into a zoning issue. It'd take us 2 months to get through zoning, and this company went right
So
now.
we need to be ready.
Go ahead, Rick.
Rochelle gonna annex all that property in.
They will annex everything out after.
So why don't they annex it in and then they take care of the zoning? I mean, to me, it's gonna end up in the city of Rochelle anyway.
If they annex it, then it will affect the taxes unless they abate them, right? So I think that's why we're doing it this way.
Now, I was gonna say right away that the tax increase, besides the locate, right?
But I don't know that zoning's
So
gonna be
will
an issue.
if they annex it in, even though it's still, I don't know if they have, the city have this ag zoning.
Yeah, we don't have to decide today. I was just,
Yeah.
I want to make everybody aware of what's going on and
So,
talk to them.
so to Rick's point, the issue is more about time.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
about whether, we're gonna have a hang up and redoing the zoning. It was that this particular project, to my understanding, was a company that needed to move immediately and they weren't willing to wait. And so that was a.
Right,
that
and
was
we
a
just
hang up.
have to abate the taxes, so Ravenous and the boys cooperate.
We want this shovel ready, and right now it's
Yeah,
not shovel ready
right.
because the
Not-
zoning is an issue. So this is the last pickup. If we can get it shovel ready, then we can talk to, XYZ and they're ready to go. Otherwise, either Rochelle's going to annex it and go through their system, and then we're going to have to do a MOU or whatever with them to tell them to take it over until it's annexed. So this last project, we're going to have Rochelle's own it, and that was going to take a month.
And if Rochelle zones it, if they come in and they zone it, their I-2, they're probably gonna want city taxes added
Yeah.
on, and that's gonna be an automatic increase for the farmer unless we can somehow work the deal with Rochelle.
So,
We abated it.
yeah, so I talked to Jason Anderson, and this is the way around he want to go.
Yeah.
That's Chris.
If the farmer goes to I-2 and it's shovel ready, his property went from $10,000 an acre to $50,000 an acre. Just saying, like,
But it's farm ground to him.
farm ground, like we can abate it, where I
Yeah.
think we're getting
We want to
too
jump,
wrapped up.
we want to
Yeah,
jump
we're
ready.
getting caught up in it. but-
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes, it automatically increases the
Yeah,
value,
yep.
but until he sells it, the value isn't there.
It's like out in the ordnance plant, the stuff that's industrial.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, all right, I just want to make you aware of it. Let's go down to G. There's none. H, none. I, petitions coming from the planning commission. Yeah, petition one, what is it? Definitely,
Text amendment.
That's next year's text.
all right, that's what we had last month, so definitely want that on there. Administrator monthly update. I would put that on unless if she doesn't have no comments, then we don't have to worry about it.
Well, we have that on there every month. 'Cause it's also
Wendy will have
important.
comments.
Yeah, I know, I was just thinking that.
But she won't be here.
Oh, that's
So-
right. She's had 2 weeks, so.
Yes. So you're gonna have old business, new business, ARPA committee funding recommendations.
How come because the other one was the 250,000 for the AV in this room.
Yeah,
Because I thought that Wendy emailed me and said you didn't want to approve that until next month because of the changes that might be coming forward.
Well, yeah, but we approved, so the finance committee approved the up to
Right.
amount. But as far as we haven't approved what we're actually
the
doing.
project, so,
But the board still needs to be aware that the ARPA funding is now committed as an up to,
So you want me to add it back?
yes.
Okay, I thought we were taking it off because we weren't
Yeah,
going to vote on
two
it.
separate issues.
Gotcha. I will add it back in.
so then we want to put A on there, approval to extend social services program updates and extensions of application date.
Yeah, and then the approval from the ARPA committee for an up to $250,000 for the AV improvements.
All right, did you approve any other ARPA projects
No.
today? Okay. So we want both of them on there. We go down to, O, we surely want the consulting engineer service contract on there. We don't need the renewable energy conference.
Oh, wait, no renewable energy.
No, yeah, because they got tabled
Yeah.
for further information.
So Q.
Same with Q.
Same with Q. What is this IDOT contract resolution? Let me see what it is.
Those are all lots of things.
Okay. We want them on there. IDOT, public, so you want,
Can those be consolidated?
one's an ordinance gotta be
Okay.
held over. So you gotta have that separate. So you want all them on there.
I think so, yeah.
Yep, zoning, we don't want on there.
No. It's been tabled.
And, we want V, the appointments. That looks good, unless anybody's else got a,
And then we want to add an executive session.
I always put it on there.
Be safe.
Yeah.
In the resolution, you've got Wesley's name that's spelled once. In the actual resolution.
So what's the misspelling?
Pull it up, but Wesley is WELS. Where's it at? It must have been corrected since I read it
In the actual resolution?
in the actual resolution.
Oh, they sent that to us, so I don't, that got mailed to us.
All right,
Maybe it's been corrected since I looked at it earlier.
I don't think we probably did anything with it because that's how they sent it to us.
we can print it out after the meeting and look at it.
I don't know.
That's all. Anybody else got anything else?
Oh, wait a minute. So we're gonna add the text amendment, correct? Everybody's aware of that? The mini warehouse.
Oh, yes. It was up.
Correct. But D, someone needed to add. We're adding
Okay,
it.
what I was talking about in this resolution, on the second page, item number 2.
I'll look at it, but that's how they sent it. to us. So
So you got the answer for the text amendment?
yes, it needs to go on under old business as held over from.
Any other comments or Nicholson motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Sheila seconds it. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. For motion to adjourn.
Second.
Shippert, Copine. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.